Okay, catch it. So Apple just announced their new set of MacBook Pros with the new chip, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. And I believe that these chips are the true first generation Apple in-house silicon chip. The M1 was just like, let's just give them a taste. And according to the data from the Apple events and all the reviews that I've been watching, these chips actually live up to their hype. They're incredibly powerful and they're incredibly fast. But it doesn't really mean they are for everyone. I mean, judging by the price, I feel like that's pretty obvious. Now, this video is geared towards people who already own the M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air like me. Should you upgrade to the new MacBook Pros with the new chip, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max? Well, duh, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with your money. I'm just kidding. You wouldn't be watching this video if you're already sure if you want to upgrade or not. The truth is that the new MacBook Pros are miles better than the M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air. This is not some kind of iPhone 12, iPhone 13 type of situation where like,
oh, the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 12 are the same phone, you don't need to upgrade.
But sometimes better does not really mean better, if that makes any sense. And yeah, it does make some kind of sense if you think about it. The new MacBook Pros are significantly better computers overall, but it's not necessarily going to be better for, first of all, your bank account, because these laptops are incredibly expensive. And two, if you were using the M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air as your daily workhorse and you were satisfied with the results you were getting, that means your workflow wasn't really that complex. The truth is that the M1 chip wasn't really targeted towards real professionals. The M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air was targeted towards new creators or people that are already in the process of creating, people that have been doing it for a couple of months. Someone like me, not really professionals. Professionals did not make their M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air as their main workhorse. The M1 chip was more based on efficiency, not really power. Because if you think about it, even the new M1 Pro and the M1 Pro Max chip are based on efficiency.
M1 Max delivers similar performance while using 100 watts less power.
Efficiency and power are two different things. Efficiency pretty much means using less energy to get the work done, and power simply means being able to carry on that task. Power and efficiency are linked, but they are two different things. Efficiency sometimes gives the illusion of power, which is what Apple chips in general is based on. Efficiency, being able to perform a task while consuming less power. Because the truth is that there are computers out there that are way more powerful than the new MacBook Pro. Now, for example, I'm pretty sure in a scenario where you give the same task as a spec'd out Mac Pro to a spec'd out M1 Max MacBook Pro, it's very easy for the M1 Max MacBook Pro to appear to be more powerful because one, it's going to consume less power. Two, it might not even kick up the fan. And even though the Mac Pro is more powerful, at least on paper and according to the price, it's going to be easy for the MacBook Pro to appear to be more powerful because it just does it without no stressing. And that is what efficiency does, being able to get more out of less. And Apple is actually known for doing that. All their products is based on efficiency, not really power. Take a look at the iPhone. It doesn't have the best hardware, but it's one of the best, if not the best phone out there. Now, back to the question of should you upgrade from the M1 MacBook Pro or the M1 MacBook Air to the new M1 Pro and the M1 Pro Max MacBook Pro. You should only upgrade if one of these applies to you. First of all, you're planning on going full time. At this point, you want to start making money out of what you're doing. You now have clients and you now have a workflow. At this point, time is very sensitive. You need the work done faster. And obviously, the new MacBook Pros are more faster, they are more efficient, and they are more powerful than the M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air. I feel like that's pretty obvious. Well, not necessarily. It kind of depends on the second reason I'm about to say. If you're planning on upgrading your gear. Now, this applies to filmmakers or video editors. The M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air are fantastic devices for video editing, but it kind of depends on your camera, and the main factor that comes into play is the codec, the resolution, and the size of file. The M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air can handle footage from most 4K mirrorless camera, at least up to the Sony a7S III and the Canon R5 of the world, which I feel like is like the top of mirrorless camera. Well, it also depends on the codec, because I'm using the Sony a7S III right now, and there's some codec on my Sony a7S III that my M1 MacBook Pro like struggles to handle. Basically, if you're upgrading your gear, let's say from a mirrorless camera to like a cinema camera like Red camera, and want to start shooting 8K raw codec, yeah, obviously I don't really need to tell you, you need to upgrade your MacBook Pro right now, because the M1 MacBook Pro is going to disappoint you for sure. I'm not really planning on upgrading my gear very soon, and also the first option don't really apply to me because I'm not really making money out of this, and actually I'm not making any money out of this stuff. The new MacBook Pros, even though they are very tempting, they're not really going to change much in my workflow. The M1 MacBook Pro still get the job done for me. And I'm pretty sure there are other reasons why some people want to switch to like the new MacBook Pros. No, the new ports, the brighter display, the better display, just the overall design and all that stuff. But you just gotta think about it. If you want new ports, is spending extra $1,500 worth the new ports, or if you just go on Amazon and get like an adapter for like 50 bucks and connect it to M1 MacBook Pro and just continue what you're doing. I'm pretty sure there are little reasons why anyone might want to switch to the new MacBook Pros. You just got to think about it. Is spending extra $1,500, considering that you might want to sell your current MacBook Pro, is spending extra $1,500 worth the upgrade? Anyways, that's just my honest opinion on the new MacBook Pros. They are miles better than the M1 MacBook Pro and the M1 MacBook Air. I mean, obviously in every way, but at the end of the day, your skills are the limiting factor. Do you have what it takes to push this computer to even half of their limits? Yeah, even if the new MacBook Pros can handle crazy graphics, can you actually make crazy graphics? Even if the M1 MacBook Pro can do certain things, can you actually make it do those things? That's just the question. And for me, right now, for now, is no. My skills are not even a quarter way there. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys for taking your time to watch this video. Like, honestly, I really appreciate it. If you want to see more of my content, because I make tech content like this, you might want to consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. And if you don't want to see my face, but you actually enjoyed this video, you might want to drop a like. Anyways, my name is 11, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace. 1, 2, 3, let's go.